Congratulations, you're heartbroken. And I'm going to tell you all the ways that this is the best thing that could ever happen to you. This is the best phenomenon that could ever occur. And you are on the path to greatness and the path to discovering exactly what it is you want. When heartbreak happens, it teaches you and shows you what you will never tolerate again, what you will never go back to. It's a turning point. It could be negative, it could be positive, it could be neutral, but it changes you forever. The one thing about alchemy that's very interesting, and I learned this from the Jungian podcast, is when when something is burnt, it's not the same. Chemically, it will never be the same. It changes. And that's exactly what happens when you go through heartbreak. You are never again the same. So are you going to alchemize the heartbreak into pain? Alchemize the heartbreak into stagnation? Or alchemize it into something that will not benefit you in the long run? What pain will do is it will clarify the difference between what you want and what you need. What you want is not what you need, and what you need is not what you want. And that is so important in setting the standards for what you want any relationship to be like, what you want any outcome to become. What is it I want and what is it I need? For me, for example, Leo Mars, I always make sense of astrology. And according to all the stuff I read about Leo Mars and all the stuff I've studied, we need people we can communicate with a lot. So I need to feel like I can communicate with my partner as often as possible. Because I need them to know that I need to know that they're thinking about me. Because I think about them all the time. When I love people, I think about them all the time. I reference the amount of friends I've mentioned. If you've watched like all my videos, I think about people all the time. And I would want to know that I'm being thought of. I want to know that I take up space in your mind the way that you take up space in mine. So what is it you need? And it could be different for everybody. Some people need phone calls every day. I'm not someone who needs a phone call every day. Just a message like, good morning, my love, whatever will do and whatever will suffice. And what you need in friendships will be different from what you need in romantic relationships. I have friends, we could go 3 months without speaking because I know that life happens and I know how like hard these times are for so many people going through so many things. And usually, obviously, those friends would communicate, hey, I'm taking this amount of time away. And we could not speak for about 2 to 3 months and we come back and we're back to normal. Some people are different. But in a romantic relationship, I think if you go 2 days without speaking to me for not a valid reason, I most likely I could break up with you. So it's different. You know what I mean? You will need and you will want different things. You could want someone that's tall. You could want someone that's muscular. You could want someone who's um who's good in bed, or you can need someone who's good in bed. It will depend. But you can want someone who listens. You can want someone who pays attention. You can need someone who provides. You can need someone who makes you feel secure. These things are all subjective, and these are all the things that you will decide and that you will come to when you go through heartbreak. I always say, how are you supposed to know what you want if you haven't lived? How are you supposed to know who you are if you have not like discovered? You have to discover the world around you to discover what is in yourself. Because why are we here? That's why we're brought here. We discover the world around us. We know why and what. We know why, what, who, and how. And then we discover who it is we are, what it is we want. Heartbreak will force you to reflect, self reflection. What is it that kept me harmed? What is it I could have done to help myself? And it's not even a victim blaming thing. What are the changes I can make in my next relationship that will make it different and make me not walk into that thing? What I had done in the last relationship I was in, I think I made a heartbreak video before. That was like months in. It's almost how many months since I've been like, I experienced it for the first time. It was November 22nd or 27th, I believe. It was 27th. No, it was 27th, I think, because that's when it was around when the Wicked movie came out. At least I had Wicked to kind of comfort me, but it was not easy. And it taught me one thing. For me personally, I'm not your girlfriend, I'm not your partner till I have it in writing. And at least it's like the most important people in your life know my name, they know who we are, and they will be met. If not, I'm not, we're not together. Because I felt like what I had done is I had just like decided to just like keep all my eggs in one basket. And the truth is, I'm not saying that human beings are expendable. I definitely believe that human beings are valuable. We need to value people, but no, clinging onto one person, especially when they're not giving everything it is that you need. Feelings are very, very, and this is not even me on my sprinkle vibe. Feelings are very fleeting. You could feel one thing tomorrow and feel one thing the next day. Because whenever I tell people I have feelings for them, they're like, oh my God, you have feelings for me? I could stop having feelings for someone based upon conversation. Being in love is not a different thing because most people will be like, I'm in love with you when they have feelings for you. That's a different thing. So what you feel could change the next day, could change tomorrow. And even if you love the person, because I do love that person, like I would be saying this if I didn't love that person, that broke my heart. But I still have love for that person. Like I think I cried about it like last month. It never gets easy, but and it's November. What day is it? It's 9/11 today when I'm filming. Rest in peace to everyone that is affected and died from that. But my point is, um, it will make you self-reflect and understand, okay, what could I have changed better? So I find it better, like if I feel like I'm not getting everything I need in a relationship, I can also walk away as well, even if we are together. See, I've not been together with someone. I've dated people and we've obviously had to like stop talking. But like what I've kind of like gotten from the entire like fiasco is I would need to like have a certain amount of like, you know, a certain amount of like, what's the thing when you're signing a contract? A certain amount of like, what's the word? A certain amount of a guarantee, I guess, that I will be taken care of and that all my needs will be met. And from that person, obviously, that person's not my caretaker, but all the needs that I want from them will be met and all the standards I have will be met. And then I can then decide to settle down and then tie myself down and then decide whether or not it would even be monogamous. But even then, commitment is commitment. And you cannot make a commitment to someone who is not even potentially making one to you. So I think it's important to kind of like understand that even if you are in love with the person, even though you feel like you found the one, the amount of the ones I felt like I found since that from November to almost September, which is a year, I think numerous. And many of them are blocked. Some of them I don't speak to anymore, and some of them are just like, oh. So relationships, unfortunately, or fortunately, are things you have to build, are things you have to take care of. And just because you have stuff in common with someone, just because you feel like you have a soul connection, or just because you feel like you'll never find someone like that again, that scarcity mindset will have you settling and have you going back to what you had gone through in that relationship. You need to make sure that your standards are being met, your needs are being met, and that you're overall just getting to a space where you respect yourself, you respect your autonomy, and you also respect the fact that you may not even be able to meet the other person's needs as well. You respect the entire relationship and everything completely, and that will only happen when you start to self-reflect and really go on, not even blaming yourself like, okay, this is what I could have done, this is how I could have avoided it, and this is how I can prevent it from happening ever again. Heartbreak teaches you the importance of boundaries in love. We obviously, the truth is, we should, or at least I'm hoping you should have less boundaries with people you love, in the sense where maybe I'm the same way. My sister can take my clothes and take my makeup and do whatever, but a stranger, an acquaintance, it's why for me, be careful of people, for example, this is even like not related, who are overtly familiar with you when they're not that close to you. I hate that. I hate it. It's why I respect certain cultures where you don't even use the person's first name till you're close to them. Like, we're not close, we're not friends, don't talk to me like that. So there's certain things, and it's the truth. So, sorry. But it doesn't mean that there then needs to be an absence of boundaries in love. Of course, you're gonna like have familiarity with people that you're in love with, but there must be boundaries set. The person has to respect your space. The person has to respect, and I mean space like the physical space, mental space, spiritual space. They have to respect your autonomy. They have to respect um your right to be an individual, your right that you are an individual. I've always hated the fact that marriage makes you one. I don't think marriage makes you one. It's a union, but it's a union in a partnership. Obviously, that's a very metaphorical way of describing it, but never take it literally. You do become embalmed in a sense with people you love, where you start to talk like them, you start to move like them, you become very much like them. But if you then decide to just like lose yourself in that relationship, it never works out, because the beauty of being in a relationship is how much both of you evolve each other and how much is you take and remain from that person, because the only aspect of yourself you need to cling on to like that, I would say, is some sort of spirituality or belief that you have. People die, people go, people break up. Like like for me, I hope that the relationships I have are permanent, and I walk into it knowing that and hoping that it is permanent. But there is no permanence as a human, because we're not a permanent species. We die. So we change, we evolve. Nothing about us is permanent. Everything is changing. Death is a change. Life is a change. Um, from conception and all that. Moving is a change. This is a change. You know what I mean? That is a change. This is a change. But it's a thing of like, you get to the point where you allow yourself to have boundaries, remain an individual, and allow yourselves to get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm with this person, we're together, we're familiar, like we share each other's space, but like they respect you, because people who don't allow your boundaries to kind of be respected don't respect you. Respected was not the word I wanted to use, but words can be repetitive sometimes. But yeah, they have to respect your boundaries. They have to like be upset when your boundaries are broken. They can't take you for granted. Just because you're familiar with someone doesn't mean they can take you for granted. Never let them take you for granted. Look at it, evaluate it. I think one thing I did in my last relationship that didn't even work was I did a spreadsheet. So I did all the red flags, the positive flags, and then the green flags. And then the red flags got too much, I was gonna leave. And I stopped doing it because I fell so in love. It doesn't work, because the first 3 months I was like, okay. Then the third month I was like, I'm in love with him. And I was just like, I'm in it for the long run. I fall in love with this man, and he's the one I want to be with, and I can't see my life with anyone else. Now I see my life with anyone else because we're not together. But the point is, you should be that adamant about protecting your boundaries, protecting yourself, because there's 8 billion people in this world. I don't want to hear any narrative of settle, whatever. People who live limited mindsets live limited lives. Never allow yourself to feel and experience limitation when it is unnecessary. What relationships will do is it will remind you to value yourself, respect over approval. I think that's the one thing humans are never taught. We're not taught to have self respect. And we're taught to have self respect in the way that it is, okay, this is how to conform. Just because you conform doesn't mean you have self respect. It is normal, for example, for a woman to stay in a relationship where she's being abused, where she's being, let's call it a spade, psychologically tortured by a man in a patriarchal, in a patriarchal way, and she stays. How does she have self respect? How does she respect herself? Even whatever the reason, even if the reason is, for example, staying for the children, oftentimes the children benefit when you all are not together, because you know what I mean? I never saw my parents argue, and I can say that it benefited me. They did eventually, they're not together anymore, but I'm glad I never saw it. And children pick up on those things. It makes the atmosphere, it makes the environment more difficult. In and honestly, the sooner you end things with someone when you feel it, the better you become more like, because when I end things with people in relationships when it's supposed to be ended, I don't take it as personally. And it can be mended in the point where we can be like neutral, we could even be friends. So ending it before it's time, ending it and be like, okay, you had a good run. You will save yourself a lot of like I hate this person. Because the ex I have now, if I've ended it sooner, it would be different. I don't even know. It's so hard to be like, would I get back with this person? This. But I don't have very strong feelings for him. If I saw him, I would ignore him. I would. It's like, I would take it very personally. I wouldn't know how to be civil because I let it go too far. You know what I mean? Like there were times for me to leave. He was even like, you know what, you can leave if you want to. I was like, no, I'm gonna make it work. I should have left then. So it's a thing of like you will go through so much anguish if you don't prioritize your self-respect. It won't benefit you at the end of the day to stick it out over your own comfort. And that's one thing we're taught generally as people. As women, we're taught it like it's ingrained in us, but as people, we're taught to put things above ourselves. You only have one body, you only have one soul, and you only want to have one heart. And you have to do everything in your heart to maintain it, protect it, and prioritize it as the most important thing in your life. You should be the most important thing in your life. The only exception is when you have children. You must be the most important. And you know what? When you watch your parent prioritize themselves, it's a different thing. I think Tracy Ellis Ross was saying how she loved how her mom created this kind of relationship with herself, created this kind of relationship with her children, where she already had lived a life. So my mom had me when she was about 33, my sister when she was about 34. And one thing I really respect about my mom is I know her fully as a person. She's a whole autonomous individual. I wouldn't say she's my friend because she's my mom, but I know a lot about her. She knows a lot about me, and we're quite fond of each other. And we have such a, in my mind, a respect for each other because we know each other as individuals. And that's because my mom had me when she was a fully developed and realized adult. Had me when she was a fully developed and realized person. And I think I and it gave me what I wanted to have. It gave me such a yearning for life. I want to live my life because my mom had so much interesting stories of traveling to different places and meeting different people and doing different things, and it had me thinking, oh my God, I want to do that as well. When you do that and you enter these relationships, what's it called, prematurely, and that happens, I know a lot of people, their parents are young. It's like they barely know that person because they were developing at the same time. And all they know is their. I know my mom as a person, but not just as a mom, if that makes sense. Don't even know how I got to this point, but it's the importance of having self respect. Your life becomes more fulfilled, you have more experiences, and you have more to account for in your life. You should never just be a role in a relationship. You should never just be a wife, a son, a daughter, a husband. You need to be a person, then that. That's self respect. Another thing it will do is push you to recognize patterns of unhealthy love. Unhealthy love is something that we glamorize. It's something that we often yearn for, so we actually get to the point where we experience love in a way that is very like normal. Let me tell you something. Everyone is different. The way, okay, let me just explain it. I'm not like hating on the butterflies in your stomach. The butterflies in my stomach used to feel like they were poking out and like wanting to escape. It was like they were in a cauldron. But you should feel a certain amount of safety, like a warmness in your stomach, like I'm safe. That's what I've been feeling for quite a while because the anxiety, you should not feel anxious at all. Obviously, when you're about to meet them, you feel anxious, but like there are even times where like there's people I met and I dated, even someone I currently dating ish casually right now. I was already very comfortable before we met. And then when we finally met in person, he was like, oh, I'm nervous. I wasn't nervous at all because we'd spoken on the, obviously, he could have been like Hannibal Lecter or whatever, but I was comfortable because I make sure that I find people that have qualities that make me feel safe. And that's the importance of healthy love. It should feel like home. Whenever I'm around a person, it feels like home. I know we're meant to be friends. I know we're meant to be together and it's a good thing. Obviously, there could be situations where you feel like home and it doesn't work out. That's happened a few times. But it should feel like home. You should feel comfortable. You should feel safe. Like a lot of things, like obviously, like there's a lot of things that you will struggle to overcome when getting through the healing process and like going through a healing journey. But when things start to become triggers, when things start coming up out of nowhere and you realize it's just because of one person, it may not be the fact that you missed that meditation or that you're going back into toxic patterns. It may just be that that person is bringing out the worst in you, and that is unhealthy love. Don't be around and don't be surrounded by people who bring out the worst in you, who make you feel small, who you can't be yourself around. There are 8 billion people in this world. Connections are overrated to the point where you have to then become something you're not, shrink yourself, and then suffer. No, you don't. No, you don't. I saw a documentary of this lioness. The lions were trying to kill her cubs. She took her cubs, she left, and she was like running around. Even animals understand the importance of safety and being like, if I'm not safe here, I'm going. They will run. I've seen situations where animals running like or flying or going about. That's even evolution past the equator, going to different places and like adapting and evolving as a species from moving from one area and being like, okay, now, bye. And deuces. Understand that walk away power. There's something Chaperone said that stuck with me. Learn how to walk away. Learn what is important to walk away because your walk away power is the power that will save your life, but move it to the next stage. Um, it will help you build emotional resilience and growth because you cannot have the kind of capacity it is to go through things if you don't live your life. That's why I always say go out, live your life, do things, make mistakes. Because how will you have gone through or go through emotional resilience if you've not been through anything? It's why it's important to allow people, children, whatever. And I'm not saying like just like leave your children out there, protect them, but allow them to have life experiences. Like, they're not listening to you. And don't touch the fire, don't touch the fire. I'm not, you know what I mean. My mom did it to me when I was younger, but let them find out for themselves because that is the best teacher. That was help what will help you go through because I've gone through so much and the CPTSD and I've had so much. It's allowed me to be resilient and keep going. There's so many circumstances or situations I've gone through that most people who have been through it, I can't like they would not survive it or they would go through the most unhealthier outcomes or honestly to say it what's it called they would end their lives. And it's because I understand and I can understand the aspect of resilience that says and preaches that hard times don't last forever. Hard times are hard times, and what you have to do is go through it. Storms happen and you go through it. There is no point in giving up. There is no point in giving up on love. There is no point in giving up on your dreams. You have to go through things. This is why I think I've recommended in videos before. Read the autobiographies of artists and people and just important, powerful people who have gone through things and made it through. Read their biographies because you will see the things that they have gone through and it will mirror the things that you have gone through. You will understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you just keep going. Just keep going. This heartbreak may feel like you can't move forward, you cannot go on. You just can't go on, but you can. Keep growing, keep moving, keep deciding to show up every day. And it will help you realize that self love is the foundation of your standards. It is the almighty foundation of your standards because RuPaul says, how are you gonna love anyone else if you can't love yourself? It's so true. Because for me, it's the love I show myself I can show to other people. Because let me tell you something. The reason why we live in a society that we live in where people are like, maybe it's like there are a lot of train strikes in the UK. People are so mad and angry that these people are advocating for themselves when making 70K. Or it's being fully transparent. I obviously like don't have a job. I'm benefits. I have on 300 like about £320 a month. You that's a struggle when you're looking for work, whatever, and then you see people 70K complain, but they should complain, and I should complain, and the job market is terrible, and and even when you get the job, they don't pay enough, and even then they treat you, it's not there, and the reason why you can see people who are so angry and so disturbed and so like, what the fuck? What the fuck? When other people are getting what it is they deserve, or other people are being treated with a certain amount of respect, is because they don't love themselves. And it's the same thing in your relationship. How are you then supposed to lean towards and express love, lean towards love and then express love towards someone if you can't even, one, advocate for yourself, and two, most importantly, love yourself? You have to love yourself because you would also respect the standards of your partners. You would also understand that, you know what, I respect the standards of the person. Even if I can't meet those standards, you can walk away from that person. If there's someone I know and love, and I love them so deeply, and I know that I cannot meet their standards, and it's something that they need, and even if it's something that they want, I will walk away from them. I respect people who do that. And it's the same thing. We will work hard to be that person. One thing that hurt me about the last relationship I was in, that made it so painful and made it so heartbreaking, was I was willing to bend over like my needs and my standards. Like, he would not communicate with me and he would be distant. It was like I was dating a ghost. And it's obviously because he was going through things. Like, there was evidence. It was like one bad thing after the other. But he wasn't willing to do that for me. He gave up on me easily. And you know what? I respect him for that. Because if he kept me going and kept me whatever, of course I'm mad that he gave up on us or whatever, because I just thought it was something so special. And I don't know whether it was for him. It was my first love personally. I don't know if it was his, but it's like you just expect that other people should show up for you and should show up for you like the way that you do. But it's important to understand that, one, they don't have to, and two, it's important to understand that you have to let people feel you so that you can move forward and then succeed in a situation that is one of your choosing and that is different from the situation you've gone through. So don't ever allow yourself to become what's the word, stuck in a situation that not only you did not prepare for, but a situation that you are stuck in. Love should not feel like torture. Love should not feel like a prison. Love should not feel like a cage. Love should feel safe. And what it's going to do, and this is my last point, it's going to prepare you for healthier and more aligned relationships. You're going to go into relationships and you're going to be more prepared for a healthier one. There's so many friends I have now, so many relationships I've been in. I was like, if you met me just like even like 2 months before, we wouldn't be together. It wouldn't work. And it's important because whoever it is that fumbled you or whatever, you know, they are preparing you for the next relationship, because the qualities and whatever you've learned from that last relationship, the way that they broke you is the way that someone not will fix you, but will love you. I would say mend you to make it like sound more poetic, but it's the way that they'll mend you. You will never get to the point, if you don't get to the point where you find the relationships you're aligned with, if you don't get to the point where you you choose yourself one and you get into learning what had happened and what was the problem in the last relationship and doing what it is you can to kind of evolve from that. That person, the dream person, will want you in your evolved state. And it's why with manifestation, whether you believe in it or not, you need to sort of be compatible or be the thing that you want. You know what I mean? How can you want love if you can't be love? How can you want the love that you want in a specific way if you're not about it? And this is why some people, sometimes you meet someone nice, and then you mess it up. So, whatever last relationship that you were in, this is the time and this is the space for you to reflect on what happened and look at how things can be better and how things can improve and process. And then you feel what you're feeling. And as you feel what you're feeling, you allow those feelings of betrayal, those feelings of neglect, those feelings of you feeling taken for granted, to understand that I will never go through this again. No one will ever do this to me. I will never allow anyone to ever do this to me again. Let it set your standards. This is Asher Lovely Day, your Medi woman. This is Asher Lovely Day, your medicine woman, telling you and enforcing you to have a lovely day. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my Patreon, and support me where you can. And you will get through this. And this is just a hurdle. You've got this. I love you so much.
The Medicine Woman.